Hello children, welcome back to science class. So I hope you all done the assignment. All the answers are given in the slide. So check your answers. If any mistake is there, correct it. So last class we studied about skeletal system. So our skeletal system is mainly divided into how many parts that we already studied? Yes, skull, ribcage, backbone and limb bones. So our skeletal system mainly consists of skull, ribcage, backbone and limb bones. So in the first class we completed about the skull and its parts and how many types of bones are there, everything we studied. And next after that we studied vertebral column. Another name of vertebral column is backbone. Then one more name is there, spine. So we are studying three names for the backbone. That means backbone, spine and vertebral column. So today we are going to study about the next part, that is what? That is ribcage. So from the name itself we can understand that what may be the structure, ribcage. So yes, it's having a cage structure. So if you are checking ribcage, this is the structure of a diagram of ribcage. So you can see that the ribcage mainly located on our chest portion. Ribcage is mainly located in our chest portion. It protects our internal organs, lungs and heart. It protects the internal organs, lungs and heart. The ribcage consists of 12 pairs of bones. 12 pairs of bones. And these bones are called ribs. The ribcage is made up of mainly 12 pairs of bones, and these bones, each bones is known as rib. And we can see that all the 12 pairs of bones are attached to the spine. So this is the spine or backbone. All the 12 pairs of bones are attached to the spine. Here you can see that a long bone in the middle, it is known as breastbone. It is known as breastbone. The long bone at the center, it is known as the breastbone, and it is also known as sternum that you will study in the higher class. So now you have to only study the name as breastbone. So the longest bone here, from here to here, this longest bone is known as breastbone, and these small, all the 12 pairs of bones known as ribs. When you are checking, you can see that all the 12 pairs of bones are attached to the spine or backbone. Among the 12 pairs of bones, 10 pairs of bones are attached to the breastbone also. Among the 12 pairs, 10 pairs of bones are attached to the breastbone also. The remaining 2 pairs that you can see here, it is only attached to the spine. The 2 pairs of bones, they only attach to the spine. It is not connected to the breastbone. So they are having a name, floating ribs. Floating ribs. And all the bones are connected. They are flexible bones. Now we can check the important points. The ribcage is located in our chest. It protects the lungs and the heart. The ribcage consists of 12 pairs of flat, flexible and bow-shaped bones. What is the shape of the bones? Bow shape. The ribs are connected to the spine at the back and the breastbone in the front. That I already said. All the 12 pairs of bones are connected to the spine or backbone. Then the 2 pairs of ribs in the lower of the breastbone are called floating ribs. That means among the 12 pairs of bones, only 2 pairs of bones connected to spine only. The remaining 10 pairs of bones are connected to the breastbone also. So that 2 pairs of bones that is attached only to backbone, they are known as floating ribs because they are flexible. Then the ribcage helps our body, that means for breathing, like that purpose it is very helping. The ribs are very flexible. The ribs are very flexible and it helps in breathing. When our body is breathing in and breathing out, they also help for the process. So next we are going to check limbs. Next portion is limbs, a part of skeletal system. We are already studying from the smaller classes what are limbs. Our 2 arms and 2 legs together known as limbs. 2 arms and 2 legs together known as limbs. So first we can check the arm portion. 2 pairs of limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs. So we are checking this the picture. You can see here Arms or forelimbs are joined to the spine with the help of shoulder girdles. So here this is a upper arm. From this here you can see that this is upper arm and this is lower arm. This portion is upper arm and this is lower arm. The upper arm and lower arm connected to the spine with the help of shoulder girdle. Shoulder girdle means that it's mainly consists of this shoulder blade and collarbone. When you are checking here, you can see that two types of bones are here. A flat shaped bone, that is shoulder bone. Two shoulder bones are here. Then you can see here collar bone. So shoulder girdle means it consists of two shoulder blade and collarbone. So the arms are attached to the spine with the help of shoulder girdles. Then if you are closely checking, you can see that the upper arm has a long bone. Upper arm has a long bone. It is known as humerus. What is the name? Humerus. The upper arm has a long bone. It is known as humerus. Then if you are checking, you can see that the lower arm has two bones. The lower arm consists of two bones and the name is radius and ulna. Radius and ulna. So the upper arm consists of a long bone. It is known as humerus. And the lower arm has two bones. It is known, they having name radius and ulna. Then the remaining portion, that means our palm and fingers, that is made up of very small kind of bones. So we completed limbs, and next is another part of limbs, that means legs. Each of our leg has a framework of 3 long bones and several small bones. Here also we can see that the upper leg bone and lower leg portion. Upper leg portion and lower leg portion. Here you can see here, this is the upper leg portion, this is lower leg portion. The upper leg has the longest bone. It is the longest bone in our body and the name is femur. The upper leg has the longest bone in our body. It is very strong also. So it is having a name femur. And the lower leg has two bones. You can see here in the picture, the lower leg consists of two bones and the names fibula and tibia. Fibula and tibia. So if you are checking leg portion, the upper leg and lower leg portion is there. The upper leg consists of a long bone and it is the strong bone. It is also known as thigh bone. The name is femur or thigh bone, and the femur bears the weight of our entire body. That is the specialty. It is very strong. It bears the weight of our entire body. Then, and the femur is connected to the hip girdle. The femur is connected to the hip girdle. This is the hip girdle portion, this bone, hip girdle, and the femur is connected to the hip girdle. And if you are checking the lower leg, you can see two types of bones, fibula and tibia. Fibula and tibia, and the remaining feet and then our toes. So several small bones constitute ankles and toes. So today we studied ribcage, then we completed limbs, and next is our structure of bone. So up to this much time we studied about different types of bones, everything, and now we are going to study about structure of bones. There are different types of bones in our body, long bone, small bone, short bone, different types are there. So what may be the actual structure of bone? The bones have tiny holes within them. Can you say why? Why it is allowed there such type of holes? Because the bones also need some nutrients to them. So it is allowed through the 3 tiny holes. The bones have tiny holes which allow nerves and blood vessels to enter them. So when only they having tiny holes, only at that time the nerves and blood vessels can enter them. And inside the bone we can see a spongy and jelly like substance, and it is known as bone marrow. So inside the bone we can see a spongy jelly like substance. It is known as bone marrow. Then blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. So you can see the structure here, bone marrow. So today we studied ribcage. So ribcage structure we studied. The ribcage mainly located on our chest portion, and it consists of 12 pairs of bones. It forms a cage like structure and it protects our internal organs like lungs and heart. And the 12 pairs of bones, all the 12 pairs of bones are connected to the spine or our backbone. So among the 12 pairs of bones, 10 pairs of bones are connected to the breastbone. The remaining 2 pairs of bones only connected to the spine. So they are known as floating ribs. Then next is we studied limbs. So limbs means our arms and legs together called as limbs. So first we can check the arms. So our arm has 2 portions, that means our upper arm and lower arm. The upper arm consists of a long bone and this long bone name is humerus, and the lower arm has 2 bones. They are known as, they having the name radius and ulna, and the remaining portion means our palm, hands, fingers consist of very small type of bones. Then we studied legs. So legs also have 2 portions, upper leg and lower leg. The upper leg consists of a long bone. It is the longest bone in our body and it is very strong also, and this is known as femur or thigh bone. Then the specialty of femur is that it can hold our entire body weight, and the femur fits into the hip girdle at the top and is connected to the lower leg at the knee. Femur means the upper leg bone name is femur. It is connected to the lower leg at the knee portion. The lower leg has 2 long bones called fibula and tibia. Fibula and tibia, and the ankle and the toes consist of very small kinds of bones. Now we can check a video about the structure of limbs and ribcage. Limbs. So you can see here our limbs, arms and legs together called limbs. We can check the first arms. The arms are connected to the spine through shoulder girdles. They consist of shoulder, they consist of the collarbone and shoulder blade. The upper arm and lower arm are the 2 parts of our arm. The upper arm consists of a long bone and the long bone name is humerus, and our lower arm consists of 2 bones and its names are radius and ulna. Similarly, if you are considering our legs, we can see here upper leg is there, lower leg is there. The upper leg consists of the longest bone, and upper leg and lower leg connected by knee, and the upper leg bone is known as thigh bone. It is very strong and it is the longest bone also in our body, and it's having the name femur or thigh bone. It is the longest bone in our body, and inside the, if you are checking a bone, you can see that inside portion we can see spongy substance and it is known as bone marrow. Next is assignment. Write a short note on femur. Second one, what is the function of the tiny holes on the bones? What is humerus? What do you know about ribcage? So find out the answers. Thank you.